So the last question I'm going to ask you from Noodles is, Peter mentioned something along the lines of, I'm not an expert at everything, but I seek out expert opinions on the things I don't know much about. What areas do you currently feel weak in, and what have you been doing to seek out expert opinions in those areas, and what are your plans to leverage some of those expert opinions?
Such a good question, Noodles. I appreciate all of your thought that you put into all these questions, and
Yes.
I think that the country wants to hear about it, and I really think it's cool that you took the time to formulate all these good questions. So, as far as myself, I'm not a medical expert. I'm not a doctor or anything else, or nor am I a public health expert. But I have lots of relatives in the medical field, so I talk to them. I also avail myself of the fabulous Jeremy Summers, whom many of you have seen on the strip at big tournaments or whatever. He's also on the medical commission of the FIE. We sent him up there, and he represents the United States there. He's got a lot of programs. I'm happy to say that there's a partnership between USA Fencing and Mount Sinai Hospital, which is amazing as far as like research for injury prevention, and all that kind of stuff. So I certainly defer to medical people there. And as far as plans for more medical stuff, I think that's going to go through the FIE, because he's such a unique guy in his field. He's trying to develop worldwide kind of stuff. A program for tracking injury, et cetera, and developing measures to prevent injuries, of which, I don't like to be injured, but that's about as far as it goes. Then there's legal professionals. We have to do everything legally, et cetera. So I have very little, I have no legal training, but, so of course I have to avail myself there. And, plans would be just to keep everything compliant, especially things like, when you open up our tournaments, everything has to be done according to guidelines and stuff. And we have to make sure that we don't get sued, et cetera. So I defer to people like that. And then one of the big things of the moment, one of the issues of the moment is the DEIB, and I'm of the dominant demographic, if you will, an old white guy, so I defer to experts in the field. I have attended many online seminars, speaking of online, from RISE, the Ross Institute for Sports Equality. I was happy to attend also at least 2 seminars from the Ali Center, which is out of Louisville, Kentucky, named after Muhammad Ali, and another athletic organization that drives change for belonging and equity and diversity in sport. I think I mentioned medical. Well, I'm also not a mental health person, but I believe that that right now the world at large, and athletics also, and then fencing specifically, has a great need for mental health advice and care and lifelines or whatever. And we have a guy in fencing, Hall of Fame member and a former national team member, Justin Tausig, who's quite active that way. So I talk to him from time to time, and I know that he's advocating for developing some kind of a mental health program. And I guess that's still in the nascent phase, but I think we can look forward to something like that coming down. I also have the pleasure of talking to a USOPC rep, and she is the rather new DEIB person there. Her name is Nitra Rucker, and I first talked to her, gosh, I don't know, right at the beginning of my presidency, and then I've had a couple of other conversations with her on the phone, and been happy to be on calls when she's the host, etc. She's an amazing person, and I defer to her for all kinds of advice that way. And I also want to mention once again the new board member, USA Fencing, Lauren Haney, is also a DEIB expert. So trying very hard to bring USA Fencing into a place where everyone is welcome, and that actually fosters the inclusion of all groups from everywhere. I'd like to get out of the San Francisco Bay Area and New York City and Long Island and stuff, but also be just all over the country. I think that it's our job to try to normalize fencing as just like baseball or basketball or something. And it's my ambition to do that. Now I know it's a big goal, and I know people might scoff, etc. But approaching infinity. You never get to infinity, but
it's the way we all got to go. So
got to push, and it's got to be from the tiniest schools and everything. If it were normal in schools, if it were part of PE curriculum, etc. And I know there's some legal problems there, etc. But I think that if we could get local clubs involved. And this, by the way, I think goes back to a question we talked about earlier, but one of my ideas is to get local clubs involved and going to school superintendents, school principals, et cetera, and offering courses in their PE department, like an 8-week block or something like that, supply the equipment, follow all the protocols, et cetera. And that's how you start getting fencing thought of as a normal thing. And oh boy, and it could lead to people being able to, bolster their club membership or even start a new club, et cetera, and then it would grow from there. So, if I forgot to mention that earlier, that's one of my, and I only know this because of another expert that I talked to about how to get fencing in schools and things like that. So, yeah, those are the kind of the people that I consult and seek out, because I don't know everything. That's for darn sure. And I always want to learn. If you stop learning, then you're done. So, and if people have things to offer to me, I would love to hear from them, because I don't know everything. So thank you for asking the question again.
Yeah, the wise man knows what he doesn't know. So, and nobody knows everything.
It's the truth.